So one little offshoot of the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise that I think people are very fond of is the Sonic Advanced series. The late 90s, early 2000s was a period of change for Sega's Blue mascot, with the Sonic Adventure series bringing us a new look for Sonic as well as thrusting him into the third dimension. He could talk now. There were new possibilities. While the fall of the Sega third-party console market was a sad thing, the new possibilities for Sonic were quite exciting, with perhaps one of the most surreal prospects being Sonic games released exclusively onto Nintendo hardware. Enter the Sonic Advanced series, a series of Sonic games exclusive to the Game Boy Advance. And of course, with Game Boy Advance hardware being incredibly limited, we had the return of 2D Sonic. Now of course, Sonic does have a history of trying to conquer both the main console market and the handheld market. When the Sega Game Gear was effectively dead and buried, Sonic was the guy still sticking around with new releases. And I think as far as Sonic's Nintendo exclusive handheld releases went with the Sonic Advance series, this was a worthy venture. So in this video, we're going to be talking about all 3 installments of the Sonic Advanced series, starting with Sonic Advanced 1. I think it was a genius move for Sonic's handheld releases to have the same gameplay style as the classic Sonic games that people already knew and loved. Because I think one of the best things about Sonic Advanced 1 is that it didn't reinvent the wheel, instead serving as a spiritual successor to the classic Sonic series, at a time when people weren't even that nostalgic about it. So unlike Sonic 4, this spiritual successor to classic Sonic doesn't jerk itself off. Wow, I really just went there with that one, didn't I? Jesus. So, while Sonic Advance is the successor to classic Sonic, it doesn't share the same art style, and as well as that, prides itself on a slightly larger roster of playable characters. I say slightly because the only addition here is Amy Rose, who is now playable for the first time in a 2D Sonic game. As you would expect, the different characters have different sets of abilities, with Tails being more flight-oriented, Knuckles being able to glide and climb walls, and Amy Rose has use of her Pico Pico hammer. And she plays a lot better than her at that time 3D counterparts. Probably the most important thing here is that it does feel authentic. The physics and the weight of Sonic all feel similar to what they did in the classic Sonic games. Not exact, but close enough. They at least still seem to make some sense. And all of the characters have picked up some new abilities along the way as well. Nothing too quintessential, but it's nice to have access to. There are 9 zones, which may have some fairly familiar themes to them, but at the same time they're not quite as nostalgia-dependent and unoriginal as the zones in, say, Sonic the Hedgehog 4. So the first zone is Neo Green Hill Zone, and no, just stop right there. I swear they are pretty original. I mean, beyond its name, there's not really much in common that this has with the original Green Hill Zone. It is far more coastal. Next up is Secret Base Zone, which is, well, it's very sort of industrial, and it feels kind of like a cargo base kind of a place. And it's ever so slightly similar to Metropolis Zone. But that only comes down to appearance, really, to be honest. Stage 3 is Casino Paradise Zone, and I swear, guys, I swear, it's not that rehashy. It sounds worse than it is. The 4th stage is Ice Mountain Zone, which I guess is kind of similar to Ice Cap Zone, but like, it's different enough, right? You just gotta try and tell me that every zone that has snow in it is the set. I guess I did say similar things about White Park though in Sonic 4 Episode 2, jeez. Well, what about the 5th stage, Angel Island Zone? It looks different though, I swear. It's a different zone. I'm not being biased here. You've then got Egg Rocket Zone, which is nothing like Launch Base Zone. It looks completely different and feels completely different, so don't go making assumptions. Cosmic Angel Zone has a very sort of a neon futuristic kind of vibe to it. And then you've got the X Zone, which you fight the first boss from Sonic 1 and 2. Bloody hell. Bloody hell. I mean, it's a very different location. It's a big space base that overlooks... fuck it, just fuck this. Okay, fine, it's a bit rehashy. And then if you get all the Chaos Emeralds, which are achieved by going to special stages through springs hidden in every level, yeah, weird way of doing it, but hey, it's original. Then you complete the X Zone again with all the characters, you get access to the Moon Zone, where you get to play as Super Sonic, for the only time in this game, against Dr. Robotnik's final boss mech, which is somewhat similar to Doomsday's. It's not really comparable. The only way it's comparable is because it's a 2D supersonic final boss fight with a robotic mech and you're in space. But you're on the moon this time. Very different. Very, very different. Okay, so look. Just hang on. Yeah, admittedly, the level selection is pretty unoriginal. Okay, I found that out revisiting this. And it's like, why the double standard? Sonic 4 rehashed levels, and that was very highly criticized, so why is this okay? Well, for starters, Sonic Advance does it a lot better than Sonic the Hedgehog 4. Like, the level design is generally better than it is in Sonic the Hedgehog 4. There is more creativity in here, the gameplay is more authentic to the classic Sonic games. But also, it's like Sonic Mania brought back a lot of levels, just shamelessly, didn't even rename them or anything. And why is that okay? And I think it does all fall down to the namesake. If you're going to call it Sonic the Hedgehog 4, there's the expectation that it's going to be a sequel, and it's not going to retread old ground. Sonic Advanced was a Sonic game marketed to a brand new audience that had probably never played Sonic before, so it made sense to introduce them with very quintessential Sonic environments that we all know and love, and Sonic Advanced 1 is very much a case of that. It's like Sonic is trying to prove himself to the Nintendo handheld market, and by doing so, he's delivered like a little greatest hits compilation. So how does the spiritual successor to classic Sonic hold up against, say, the big three, the original trilogy? If I'm being honest, it doesn't. This is a great game, and it's a game I'm always happy to revisit, but it is not as good as the original trilogy. Maybe if you remove the nostalgic component, maybe it stands a chance against Sonic the Hedgehog 1. It's obviously nowhere near as iconic, but Sonic 1 has a lot of very frustrating moments and level design that really doesn't complement this very momentum-based gameplay. This game does at least get it a little bit better, but the level design is still far from as good as it was in, say, Sonic 2 and 3, full of bottomless pits and a lot of trial and error. You gotta die a few times to just kind of learn how the game wants you to play it. So that's kind of that, I guess.
Sonic Advance 2.
So I mentioned how Sonic Advance brought back the classic Sonic gameplay for a brand new market. As really, classic Sonic is about as good as Sonic in 2D is gonna get. Why tamper with that perfect formula? I mean, it's a good question, right? In many ways, there is a very strong parallel between the progression between Sonic Advance 1 and Sonic Advance 2, and Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Sonic 1 brought us an iconic game with an iconic character, but the level design didn't necessarily fit that gameplay in places, whereas Sonic the Hedgehog 2 brought us a much more kinetic experience with more speed. In many ways, Sonic Advance 2 very much does that same thing, as Sonic Advance 2 wants to prioritize the speed, the athleticism, and the kinetic experience of Sonic. Now, the gameplay engine has had some tweaks, but not as much as you would necessarily expect for how different this game feels. While Sonic the Hedgehog 2 definitely felt like an improved sequel to Sonic the Hedgehog 1, this does feel like a completely different experience, and that is because of the marriage of the tweaks made to the gameplay style, as well as the new level design. So the more rings you get in Sonic Advance 2, the more you can accelerate, and it kind of puts you into a boost-like state where you are just going top speed and you can see speed streaks behind you, and it's all very thrilling. And the level design this time encourages a lot less exploration and more just go, go, go. Just keep on, like even from the start it tells you, go. Even down to the fact that the end of the level now feels more like a finish line after a race. Like, they've got rid of the signpost thingy, and it's more like a pitch of different colored floor, where Sonic will slow himself down and strike a pose for you, almost as if he's taking a little breather. Even the bosses are kinetic this time, with Sonic constantly running and chasing after Dr. Eggman. It is a whole new gameplay style for the boss fights, which can take a little bit of a learning curve to get familiar with, but at the same time it does lead to the bosses feeling perhaps a little bit samey. This time as well, it's all a little bit more story-focused. Dr. Robotnik is kidnapping animals and turning them into robots as usual, but this time he's also kidnapped Tails and Knuckles. And it's kind of up to Sonic to rescue his friends along the way, as well as a new character, Cream the Rabbit, and her chow friend Cheese. Cream being a lost little girl that wants to find her mother, and that's a part of the story. Once again, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy return as playable characters, and are now joined by Cream the Rabbit, who is another flight-type character. And then there are, of course, the zones, and this time, once again, there are 9 of them. You've got Leaf Forest, which is very much in the spirit of Green Hill Zone, but it's only the first stage. I'm sure they'll get more original later on. Jesus. Oh my god. So then the next stage is Hot Crater, which it could feel more like Lava Reef, but it doesn't. It's a very different feeling level. You follow that up with Music Plant, which is probably one of the more fun stages of the game, as there's lots of musical gimmicks that you can play around with. Hey, okay, it makes a good alternative to your typical casino level. Then you have Ice Paradise, which is very festive and alive feeling, and I really like it. Sky Canyon feels very similar to Rail Canyon from Sonic Heroes, which is something we hadn't seen in a 2D Sonic game before. It's got that sort of very desert rocky kind of a look to it. Techno Base, which is arguably Dr. Robotnik's most psychedelic looking evil base yet. Egg Utopia, Dr. Robotnik's latest outer space base, again in concept fairly similar to Death Egg. This zone unfortunately has a lot of bottomless pits, so prepare for a lot of cheap deaths. And XX is where your journey ends if you have not unlocked all of the Chaos Emeralds. This plays host to a boss rush of every boss you have fought throughout the game. And then once you defeat those, you are confronted with Dr. Robotnik's latest mech. And then there is the 9th and final level, which is unlocked by collecting all of the Chaos Emeralds, which is of course a supersonic final boss against Dr. Eggman in space, in a bid to rescue Cream's mother Vanilla for the last time. So it must be said, Sonic Advance 2 did trim off a lot of the fat from Sonic Advance 1, admittedly. But then again, I don't think the level design has enough improvements over the real problems with Sonic Advanced 1. Bottomless pits remain in an abundance, and once again, there's a lot of trial and error. I do think it's kind of interesting that rather than making a strict sequel to Sonic Advanced 1, they instead decided to give it more of an identity of its own separate from the classic games. But I do think a lot of that exploration that was sacrificed in service of the speed and thrills was still a pretty good part of Sonic Advance 1, and in a way, while they've trimmed off some fat, they've trimmed off an awful lot of meat as well. So I would definitely say I don't like Sonic Advance 2 as much as the first game, even if it is pretty easy to revisit because of its very speed-centric gameplay. Overall, it's alright.
Sonic Advance 3.
Sonic Advance 3 makes a very strong first impression by being the only Sonic game to show us Tails' butthole. And it is, because of that, this is the best Sonic game. Nah, but for real, Sonic Advance 3... And that's pretty much my review of Sonic Advance 3. Alright, okay, look, I'm gonna start with the plot. Alright, let's start there. So, okay, before I do this, let's talk about Sonic Battle briefly. Sonic Battle had a little storyline. It was the most story-centric Sonic game, I think, where basically Sonic meets a robot called Emerl, and he's of course a mean robot at first, but like he grows a sense of humanity, and he becomes friends with the Sonic gang, and it's all nice and stuff, until at the last minute, Dr. Eggman's like, hey, no, we're gonna turn him evil, and then they're gonna have to fight him to the death. And it's probably one of the coolest things Dr. Robotnik's done, Jesus Christ. And Sonic Battle is a fun fighting game. It's pretty good. It uses kind of these, in some ways, like 3D, or at least pseudo-3D fighting fields. And, you know, different Sonic characters can just punch each other, and it's a pretty fun thing to do. I would recommend it. It's a good fighting game. The reason I'm mentioning this is because one of the main threats in Sonic Advance 3 is a new robot called G-Merl, a super fighting robot made from the same data as Emerl. So this is in many ways a sequel more to Sonic Battle than it is to Sonic Advance 2, if you catch my drift. The same set of playable characters returns, except now you have to combine them. So you can never just play as one character at once, you always have to do it as a duo. Which is a cool way of going about it, I guess. It's an interesting way of changing it up. I would always be appreciative for the option to play as just one character, but hey, fuck you, pal, you know, that's what Sonic Advance 3 is all about, you know? Just fuck off and play one of the other ones if you want to do that. Jesus. Oh, my god. Now, the thing is, when you combine different character combinations, you get different character abilities from each of them, and this can be both a positive and a very, very negative thing. Sonic and Tails is a good duo, but like the rest, you don't want to mix some of these characters. Don't mix Sonic and Amy. Not a good mix. I don't recommend it. Now, there are once again 9 zones, but this time they have completely flipped over everything you would expect from zone traversal and structure completely on its head. And, it's different, I'll give it that. So, many of us will have been used to 2D Sonic games just going on a level-to-level basis. You complete Act 1, you go on to Act 2. You complete Act 2, you go on to the next zone, etc. This game is just like, nah, man, that's too simple. That's too simple. Now, when it comes to Sonic games, I am a good little advocate for a good hub world. But not here. Not in a 2D Sonic game. No. And not this many of them. Like, there's a hub world for every zone. Which means that, like, Sonic Advance 3 has no real pacing to it. It's all over the place. And this also plays into the special stage access as well. Like, the hub worlds are a very integral part of this gameplay. So in the zones you have to collect special keys which you take with you to the end of the zone, complete it with the key in hand, take the key to a special spring hidden in the hub world, and then you go off to a special stage that controls like a piece of dick. Got it? Got it. No, it's just one of those pseudo 3D simulator things. You never really line up with the rings very well. It's not good. Then you have your stages. So, Stage 1, Route 99. Quite a nice change of pace from the traditional Green Hill-esque opening stage. A bit more urban, a very, like, pastel-colored, kind of almost cityscape sort of level. The second level, Sunset Hill. Sunset Hill. You couldn't fucking help yourself, could you? It wasn't the first level because it was the bloody second, you bastard. Absolute dick. And then you have Ocean Base, Toy Kingdom, Twinkle Snow, Cybertrack, Chaos Angel, before you go on to the final boss if you haven't got all the emeralds, Alter Emerald, where you fight G-Merl and then you move on to Dr. Robotnik's final robot mech, before the game is won. Well, if you truly want to win it, you'll get all of the Chaos Emeralds, and move on over to Non-Aggression, where G-Merl transforms into Ultimate G-Merl, forcing Dr. Eggman to team up with Super Sonic to defeat him, and you do get to play as Dr. Eggman here as well, which is really, really cool. Now, when it comes to Sonic Advance 3, there's a lot more to talk about here as well, such as Chow Collection, but that's kind of the big issue. Is there's too much in Sonic Advance 3. You've got the dual character gameplay and the different movesets that these come with. You've got the incredibly highfalutin way of getting from level to level. But then also, worse yet, is the level design. The level design is the worst it has been in the entire Sonic Advanced series. It feels cramped, it feels like you don't get much control over yourself because of all the different gimmicks, and once again, there is a huge over-reliance on trial and error. I don't feel any compulsion to ever revisit Sonic Advance 3. For me, when it comes to a Sonic game, the most important things are level design that complements the character gameplay, and to be able to speed through and explore those levels. I didn't ask for hub worlds in a 2D Sonic game, I didn't need this whole keys system, I didn't need the dual character system. It's too much. It's too much piled on top, and Sonic Advance 3 ultimately just crumbles under its own weight, making for an experience that just feels more like a chore than anything else. So, ultimately, the Sonic Advanced trilogy was a noble effort. I realize it's a very experimental series. It started by returning Sonic to his classic 2D status quo, before experimenting with that formula, and to be honest, they had it about right the first time. They just needed to improve the level design a little bit. Because when it comes to something that's been pretty perfected like classic Sonic, there's really not much reason to diddle about with it. Because Sonic Advance 1 brought us a worthy successor to classic Sonic. It had its bugs, but a warts and all experience, it was good. And then after that, they just kind of reinvented the wheel. But it has to be said, I played these games as a kid on an emulator. Really sorry guys, I didn't own a Game Boy Advance, and back then my parents wouldn't get me one. And I loved them as a kid, but this is one of those rare occasions where I came back to them as an adult and I was like, maybe it's okay to leave these ones in the past this time, you know? I don't think they're bad games, but ultimately, when you've got access to the classic Sonic trilogy, it's a fun little offshoot, and it was an introduction for a brand new audience to Sonic, which took the modern Sonic and the classic Sonic ideals and put them together and created a pretty good little marriage between the two. It's a compromise. It's fine. It's okay. These are not ones I'll be revisiting often. But they are better than Sonic 4, which, you know, fuck Sonic 4. Well, what do you guys think? Comment below and discuss, and as always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, hit subscribe, hit the like button, and in the description below are links to different social media platforms where you can come and talk to me and see other content that I do, as well as a link to the Patreon and a join button below for if you are feeling extra generous and extra supportive. But of course, you don't have to. That's a lot to ask. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and have a great day.